Hello, viewers. This is Jackson, and today we're going to learn how to program palindrome numbers. Now, the word palindrome is descended from Greek, the mighty Greeks, in their terrible, terrible debt. At least they didn't fall like the Romans. Oh wait, never mind. A palindrome number is a number which, well, it's a has multiple numbers in it. But this is an example of a palindrome number. The point is that it can be spelled the same forwards and the same backwards. It's the exact same number forwards and backwards. Now there's also palindrome words like taco cat, because if you flip that around, it's still taco cat. So it can work for words and numbers, but today we're going to use numbers. Now, see this program here? That's exactly what it does. Here's how I wrote this. First thing, you're going to use char. We use char because each one of your numbers is going to be a variable, basically. Each one of your numbers you have to be able to compare numbers, so each one has to be its own separate variable. That's why you're using char. And today we're only going to make a 5-number palindrome. The palindromes can be huge or small, it doesn't matter. And we're only going to use 5. So char A5, making 5 the limit. So that means you can only input 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, which is actually 6, so we could technically make it 4, but 5 is easier for reference. So, how you actually input palindrome numbers is this for statement right here. It's for statement. And the cout input numbers, just make it look nice, so it just says input numbers right here as it runs. Input numbers 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. It says palindrome. That's how the program works. So, once it prints this out, you're going to go to your for statement. Now, a for statement works how you define an integer, define some kind of variable. Int I, for example, is a pretty common one, equals 0. So that means the first time this executes, I is going to equal 0. Pretty normal, pretty easy to follow. Now, this I++ at the end means every time you go through the program, go through this portion of the for statement, it goes back and adds 1. So I will first equal 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Now the problem too is that we need I equals 5 right here. Because without I equals 5, I less than 5. Because if I is not less than 5, it will go on forever. So 5 limits it to the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because those are all between 0 and 5. So that's all they're going to use. So let's start with 0. So let's say I equals 0. Now, down here says cin, which means input, which means the number that you type, AI. So since I is 0, that means right now you're inputting A0. So the first number you input is A0, which equals 1. Pretty simple right there. And then that's done. So now you go back up to the for statement. Now, I equals 1. So now you're going to input A1 equals 2. Then you're going to do I2, which means A2 equals 3. And then, yeah, so it's pretty simple how that works all the way up to 4, 3, 4. So you see how that works? 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. That's palindrome. We're inputting your first number, second number, third number, fourth number, fifth number. And you can start from A1 instead if you want to, if A0 is a little bit too confusing. But yeah, that's the simplest way to do it. Now, how you can work out how a number is palindrome is a simple logic. So the middle number is always going to stay the same. It doesn't matter what number you use, even if it's not palindrome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that middle number is still exactly the same. So you will not have to use A2 for really much at all. Now the important thing is A0 and A4, and A1 and A3. The thing about these, you can see that A0 and A4 have to be the same. A1 and A3 have to be the same because the first number and the last number and the second number and the fourth number have to be the same to be able to switch them around. That's how palindrome basically works. So, since that's the case, look at this statement. It's an if statement. So if this works, then do this, this. If it doesn't work, then do this. So this says if A0, which right now is 1, equals A4, which is 1, and A1, which is 2, equals A3, which is 2. Then print out this number as palindrome, else print out this number as not palindrome. So that's basically how it works, and you can do it with any bigger type of number as long as the corresponding first and last, or second and fourth, or if it's a bigger number, you know, third and sixth or whatever. As long as those match, then the palindrome works in its palindrome number, and you can switch it around as much as you like. So let's run this again. And so palindrome number would be 5, 4, 3, 4, 5. There, number's palindrome. And once it prints out, the program basically ends because there's nothing else for it to do. Now if we do a number that's not palindrome, though, we want it to print out this number is not palindrome. So this number's not palindrome. That's just kind of an extra add-on, so you can use an else statement after any if statement, and as long as the if statement is not true, it prints out the number is not palindrome. So that is how you program a program that says if a number is palindrome or not. Thank you. This is Jackson, and like and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you.